Let's get stuck in early doors. Why is football so full of cliches? Broadly speaking, there are two types of football cliche. Firstly, there are the hypertruths, phrases which are so obvious that they're not even worth repeating.
That really was a game of two halves.
Or,
if you don't shoot, you can't score.
These hypertruths have persisted because they're comforting, reliable filler. The footballing equivalent of, say, talking about the weather with your in-laws. Then there is the received wisdom, football phrases that have become accepted as true, despite having almost no basis in logic. When a fan repeats such myths as
some people say you can score too early,
or that
2-0 is always a dangerous score,
it taps into their most primal fear that their team will suddenly and spectacularly let them down. Paranoia and pessimism are, after all, central to the enjoyment of football. For all that the English language of football has evolved into something rather ornate over the last 150 years, other countries have embraced their more poetic side, what we might describe as
postage stamp.
That is, the extreme top corner of the goal. The Brazilians might call onde dorme a coruja, literally, where the owl sleeps. While English has countless ways to describe the fundamental act of scoring a goal, none are quite as evocative as the French faire trembler les filets, make the nets quiver. Suddenly,
getting in the back of the onion bag
doesn't quite sound so impressive. Football commentary is awash with bizarre words and phrases borrowed from other walks of life, often from decades ago. When else in their day-to-day life would the average football fan use the words
a plum,
that is, a goal scored tidily but with a flourish, or
swashbuckling,
once used for 18th century pirates, but now for a defender who has a habit of suddenly bursting upfield to join the attack? The development of the football lexicon has largely been a one-way street, but it has given the occasional word or phrase back to the wider English language.
Back to square one again,
some claim, originates from the BBC's radio coverage in the 1920s, when a commentator would refer to a grid system printed in the Radio Times to indicate where the ball was on the pitch at that moment. Despite the negative connotation, cliches do have a useful function. They exist to fill gaps, to lubricate debate, and to act as a conversational leveller between a novice and an expert. So with the saturation of football coverage, spare a thought for the much maligned cliche, because
at the end of the day,
where would we be without them?